Vinyl community. It's Brian. Happy Friday. I thought today I would do a video on ugly or terrible album covers. I'm trying to define the best word for that. So ugly, bad, maybe some cases boring, and I'll call this part one with a question mark because I don't know if there'll be a part two. But let's see. Let's get right to it. So I went through my collection and picked a few that I thought were just awful. And the first one is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Let Me Up, I've Had Enough. So it's hard to even know where to begin with this cover because, I appreciate the concept. You have 5 images which are pasted together and then kind of amalgamated into one image. So, I guess some credit to the idea behind it. And on the back, you'll see the images that were torn apart to create this horrifying collage on the front of everyone screaming. So that's a little odd. And I remember early on when I added this to Discogs, I remember seeing this quote, and I'm going to read it to you because it's interesting. It's from a guy called Street Mouse. And he said, "It's quite impossible to begin talking about this release without referencing one of the most uncomfortable album covers that ever existed. And then go on to think about the photographer needing to ask each member of the band to scream in front of the camera in order to create this uninspired feature." And I have to agree with that because it just seems wrong to me. And the colors even are wrong. I mean, it just doesn't work for me. This is, I think, Tom Petty's 7th record from '87. It's not one of his best. Jamming Me's okay. Runaway Trains, I think, is fine. The rest I have a hard time even remembering, but it's okay. But, man, I just... I'd give this a 0 out of 10 if I could rank or rate this album cover. All right, so the second one I chose an album cover that oddly some people like this. I've read online that some people like this record cover, but for the life of me, I just can't understand why. And that's the first Supertramp record from 1970. And I have this. I wouldn't say I have a fear of clowns. I have a dislike of clowns, and this to me looks like a clown flower. I suppose if a kid looked at this right before bedtime, they'd probably wake up with a terrifying nightmare. In some respects, I'm reminded of, 70s era Genesis with the costumes Peter Gabriel used to wear on stage, but this is far more awful. And I don't understand the rationale behind this album cover. The back just has the band in black and white. And of course, they went through subsequent lineup changes and they hadn't really found their sound yet. So this is kind of a record that I don't really listen to very often for years because I don't think it's that good. But that cover is terrifying, horrifying. I would say far clearly the worst Supertramp record cover and probably one of the ugliest record covers in my collection. So the third one is a little troubling to me because I love the record. So this is Lloyd Cole and the Commotions, Easy Pieces from 1985, the second record from Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. One of my favorite records from that year. If I were to create a list, it would be well up on the list. Top 10 for sure, maybe higher. This is the back of the image. So this has a lot of great songs. Pretty Gone, Brand New Friend, which is a song that just brings me back to a particular time and place. Lost Weekend, Perfect Blue. But the cover doesn't really make any sense to me. Like Easy Pieces is referring to like pieces of a mystery or something. The rose and the paper kind of discarded. I don't understand the background that it's on. The only thing I do like is the use of this car here, because if you open up pull out the inner sleeve, I actually really like this image. Unfortunately, on the other side, they did this thing that so many bands have done where they put all the lyrics into an enormous paragraph, which is difficult to read. I mean, the song titles are in bold, so you can find them, but to read a paragraph, especially how wide it is frustrating. And so many bands do this, and I don't understand why. But this is a truly wonderful record. As I say, one of my favorite records from that year. And the album cover is just really uninspiring and I think terrible. It's really difficult to understand the motivation behind the next album cover. I've looked at this many times, and I just have no rational explanation for it, and that's Hooters Get Rhythm. I mean, if you look at this casually, you might think, oh my God, he's in blackface. I mean, clearly he's not. You can tell because of the highlights that he's not. But it's just, why did they make his face this color? It's sort of dark, almost purplish color. The font is awful. The halo effect. I just think everything about this is really, really terrible. And the back isn't much better. This drawing of a guitar and that. What is this? A guitar strap that runs? I don't know. It's even the font. The font is truly, truly awful too. So I don't understand the motivation behind this record cover. Just give us a photograph. I mean, I would have preferred that. Inner sleeve is blank on one side, has an inoffensive guitar image here, but this is terrible. I would give this a 0 as well. Terrible, terrible cover. The last record, I think, is the one in which the contents match the cover perfectly, because they're both terrible. And that is Cheap Trick's The Doctor from 1986. Again, I don't know where I got this quote from. I wrote it down. Someone's commented that it might be from AllMusic, I'm not sure. It contains every bad record production idea of the mid-'80s. It's as garish as its record cover. And I have to agree, like, what were they thinking when they made this record cover? It's a disaster. The back has some contact sheets or type-looking images, maybe, and the inner lyric sheet repeats that image of the Doctor. What is going on? It's mystifying to me that they would put a record out like this, and it's not a very good record. So that was part 1 with a question mark. I have others. I made a list, and I have maybe 20 or so, but I don't know. I'll see how it goes. But I thought it was something fun for Friday. So happy Friday, and I'll see you next time.